Hey guys, so in this video we're going to cover Challenging the Challenges, which is Module 4 of Act E. So we're going to go back to those 4 fundamentals of BEST. So that BEST is an e-learning provider. All staff in the tertiary school are e-learning practitioners. BEST programs are delivered in blended mode, and BEST learners can achieve in a timely way. Now, for this particular part of the module, we're going to have actually a look at this part. So all staff in tertiary school are e-learning practitioners. So that first face-to-face session, one of our activities kind of linked back to the needs. What are the needs of a confident, independent e-learner? Now we've had a look at these responses, and we've had a look at a lot of research, which will actually find links into the studies that we have in our self-directed area, as well as a video. This comes from John Hetty, which you'll see a video from him after this as well. But from all of that research and that feedback and looking back at this theme, this is what we've established the needs of a confident, independent e-learner are. So they need facilitators who are confident and capable e-practitioners and e-learners themselves. Student coaches who are confident and capable online and face-to-face coaches. So that research comes around the support networks that they have. And tools to do the job, i.e. access to laptops and just your essential resources. So let's have a look back at what that feedback was, or that forum from that InFlip workshop was. So this is a few of them. So you've got lack of student knowledge and technologies and etc. I've added a few here myself. Students missing the class, educator not confident or enough to deliver, no access to the internet, our students are kinesthetic learners, and learning is impersonal. Okay, so if we have a look from all of this, this is where we've kind of formed the Challenging the Challenges module. So we're going to have a look at sharing my experiences as a facilitator, and also just general advice around these areas in terms of the challenges that we face in e-learning. So you've got your low digital literacy student, but we've also got our low digital literacy staff, students not having access to the internet, that it's time consuming to prepare work, and attendance is an issue. And so look at what we've got. We'll start with our low literacy students. So I think the biggest one with this one is changing your perceptions or even your expectations of your students' capabilities. Again, if you have a look at the self-directed section, there's research that shows what effect that having that expectation of our students has over their achievement. To some extent, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're wanting to really get started around this, especially with our low digital literacy students, start with group activities. Group activities where they can get knowledge construction through social constructivism, so that they can support each other and help each other out, and the student can learn from them. So I'll give you a bit of an example of where we've done that from. So basically, I set up a task for our students, and they were placed into groups where they had to learn a piece of software and carry out a task. So it's 50-50 in terms of the ability to learn these tools themselves or gain that knowledge in digital literacy. So the simple enough activity where they create their own video, they get a bit of creativity and innovation between the groups. Here's another task that I'm going to show you from our older students who are slower with internet. So this is the same on their week off. We had an e-learning week where the students were put into groups. In this group, the youngest person, I believe, was about 35. And this group itself weren't so great with computers. With this assignment, this is the work that they had actually produced and shared on Freshie. So as you can see, they created their own video material, learned how to use music. So the power of just being in a group actually has an effect on the student's ability to learn. And then once they start building that knowledge bit by bit, then you can start progressing them to much more difficult activities. So have a look here. in this activity, just like how you had with your work, I gave my students the link to Screencast-O-Matic. And in this activity, they all had to learn within an hour and a half how to use Screencast-O-Matic and how to process certain actions. This was also a group activity. Each student had to install Screencast-O-Matic without any support other than their own group. So this is the outcome of one of them. The student that I'm playing with had our lowest LLN scores for this intake, and he done this independently. And coming back to this, so once you've got them to learn the basic skills or to start helping each other out, so you want to start with lighter things for the first few weeks. As you start progressing, you want to start progressing to more inquiry-based learning activities where they can actually start learning the materials themselves. So we'll show you this one. So with this group, they had an activity where they had to actually produce a piece of media. This team itself actually learned how to use Powtoons, which is another common piece of software used by facilitators in work. So this is another piece of work where they go onto a higher level and find things other than Screencast-O-Matic. So our next common challenge that we normally face is ourselves or our abilities. Just to clarify, if you're not confident with your ability as a e-practitioner, don't stress out too much. We all need to start from somewhere. And that's the general tip here. After you've done this program, you're not expected to be IT savvy or to be able to do things in a matter of a week. And this is something I've tried myself. As I build up, I will learn one feature and then build from there. So you start small. So one example of this is I've only gotten out of the space where I've gotten my students to comfortably use forums, but just for myself as well to comfortably understand how to use and facilitate using forums. My next challenge is to move it up, take it up a level and start working on wikis and getting my students to contribute on a basic level, just like how you guys would have used the wiki to add your bits and bobs in. Once I feel confident with that, what I'd like to see is creating wiki with activities where my students will actually portfolio all their work with videos and pictures and images. Same with databases, shifting them from or growing them from forum use to database use, and then once I step it up a notch, then I can actually turn that database into a knowledge base, which is basically an equivalent of a workbook created by students, for students, and facilitated by the facilitator. So again, don't be disheartened by the fact that you don't know every tool that's out there of the trade. Start small, and then once you've started small and you gain your confidence, try newer things. But the best part is what I would normally do is over a period of 1 or 2 weeks, I'll reflect on what I'm confident with and how I can take that on to the next level. No access to the internet, that's probably one of our biggest and most common aspects. Just to clarify, laptops are enabled with mobile data, the new ones that are being issued. Other online alternatives, so these are for my students that don't have computers. Generally what I ask at the beginning of class is if you don't have internet access, stay behind, and I'll sit with my students and confirm their address and lead them to these directions. Generally, the reality is free internet's only within less than a kilometer away from most people. You might get the odd 1 or 2 people where you may need to negotiate or sort out a learning plan for them that don't have access to the internet, but overall most people should have access to the internet. Another one that was raised commonly in our last workshop, our last face-to-face workshop, was time consumption and preparing your work. If I look back at my very first attempt with doing flipped classes, I must admit the first time I used it, that I took these videos, it took me 3 hours, but it did take me 3 hours in the sense that because it was my first, I worried, I stressed out, I reshot a lot of videos, And what I found is those following semesters, when I covered those assessments again, I had saved myself about an hour and a half within the classroom to do other things. If you were doing the face-to-face classes on Wednesday, you probably would have noticed that I was walking around a lot, but there wasn't so much I needed to do. So that preparation that I'd done doing those videos for you, and one of them wasn't even of me, saved me time and allowed me to walk around just to double check who's on and who's off track. If we have a look here in terms of the 4 classes that I attempted this with, I would have saved myself about an hour and a half in total over time from that 3 hours, and more time to come. On average, if I look at it now, how I'm tracking now in terms of preparation time or getting things sorted for my class online, I normally find myself taking about, on average, 25 minutes. Not even that sometimes. If it's something really big or something that I might plan over the entire week, it might even take me 15 minutes to do the video. But that's generally if I feel like I need a bit more planning around a certain unit or module. Overall, tips I would probably give on the time consumption. When you're making these videos, generally I talk to my students in these videos, but sometimes what I might do is create a video that can be reused not just in my class but in my colleagues' class, and they'll do the same as well to save us both time. So that's one of our ways of working smarter in our New Malanga team out west. Making use of the resources already there. So instead of me doing a whole video on inflip classes, I used the video already that was on YouTube. When you first try the scripts, it might help you, it might not, but later just do it. The last one is get over yourself and just do it. So this is an aspect where you might actually be like a bit camera shy. Just do it. Once you do it, you get used to it, and once you get used to it, you feel a lot more confident. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't even be afraid to make mistakes and continue shooting your video. Attendance issues. In terms of students who miss your classes, this is where it can actually benefit a lot. In terms of the concern of students justifying having the content available all online, one tip is you can actually limit visibility on certain activities based on the date or time or activity completion. So this is known as restrictions. And also just reiterate the value of face-to-face basis of e-learning. For my students, it tends to be about what employers are looking for. So these are people that can not just be IT savvy, but can also collaborate and communicate. So what now? Have a look at the video down here. This is of our keynote speaker, John Haiti. He is an amazing researcher, and he's renowned worldwide in America. Just a bit of a note, he is from Timaru in the South Island. That's not spelled right, but have a look at my challenges. Activity, complete that activity. Do the article review activity, and then last week's press work as well. Cheers.